All right. Let's get going, man. I know y'all been waiting on this a long time. I've been getting a lot of emails and stuff like that. A lot of the long term fans of the show been requesting the Power of Ownership podcast show. So we're gonna revisit that. We're gonna actually revamp the show, make it a little bit different. Get some more guests coming on, stuff like that. Get some more interviews and stuff, reactions. So be on the lookout for both shows. You know, I'm probably going to do the Power of Ownership podcast on the weekends, probably Friday night or Saturday night. So be on the lookout for that. I know a lot of people been emailing, like DMing, like, damn, I really like the heavy content show. So bring that back. So I got a great video that just hit. I want to react to. This is a long form video, so I'm going to react to it throughout the actual podcast. So let's go ahead and get the introduction out the way and let's get right into it, man. Again, my name is Brandon B. Dixon, MLS 1541210 at BNL Loan Officer on all social media. You go to my YouTube at BNL Loan Officer as well. This is where I got the bulk of my subscribers. So we need to get back to over 1,000 and over 5,000. So I need y'all to tell a friend to tell a friend. You ready to get a mortgage? I'm a mortgage broker by trade. Go to my website, www.applywithb.com. Also, you call me 24/7, 832-775-8357. You call me 24/7. Not only am I a mortgage broker, I'm a real estate agent as well. Go to my website, www.brandonbdixon.com. Also, last but not least, clcinvestmentclub.com. If you want to go ahead and get into real estate investment, that's why I'm pivoting my business. I'm getting more into. Now, I will help first-time homebuyers, yes, but real estate investing, fix and flip, buy and hold, multifamily, so on and so forth, financing, refinancing, stuff like that, we're into. So if you want to hop in the game, we're mentoring. So let's go ahead and get started, man. This is a clip, man, it's heavily motivated me. And I'm going to just react like every time they drop a jewel or, say something that's prolific, that sparked my brain. But it was Fresh and Fit Friday show. I don't know if y'all know that they have two shows. One is motivational and men's help, and then the late night, the after hours with the women, and they do the women interview, the dating podcast. But during the day, they have different guests on that motivates, men's help, and stuff like that. But when you think you heard it all, man, this, as far as motivation, this is pretty much got me motivated. Like there was three different guests: Wes Watson, Rollo Tomasi, and forgot the other guy's name, Michael Sarteesian, I believe. So check this out. We're gonna go ahead and get started, and we're just gonna react, man. It was a good motivational video. Let's go ahead and get started, man. Boom.
Worst day. Who the fuck are you when shit's not going your way?
Let me make a disclaimer. I usually don't curse on the show, but this has cursing. But hey, he's direct. He gets to the point, so I apologize. So this isn't one for the kids. So if you want to move the kids from the room, this is one of those episodes that you need to move the kids from the room. But this is for adults only. So on this particular show, I usually try to make it PG, but they're doing a lot of strong language on this particular show. So boom, but it's still a good motivational vid. So let's go ahead and get started, man.
There's so many cupcakes out here that don't realize their life is so comfortable, so fucking easy, that they're whining about not getting their way. They're not facing true adversity. So in the penitentiary, you have real adversity. Some people out there in America or around the world right now are actually facing problems. But most of these motherfuckers are really just not getting their way. They're crying about not getting their way. And that's the biggest fucking crock of shit ever. Because when you get your way, you start to get weak. And my whole thing is I've lived a life purposely from penitentiary till I exited to the street that was based off of hard daily tasks that I didn't want to do, so that every day I made myself proud. Everything I do each day is.
Let me stop right there. That that hits so hard because when you analyze yourself, and you think of your problems and you really look at the world as a whole, it's like, I give you an example. For example, um, we just recently in Houston suffered tornadoes where a million people were out of power, and I'm out of power for 2 days almost, and 2.5 days or whatever, and you're woe is me. But you got to look at it. Some people they don't have power, never had power. Some people can't afford power. Also, a lot of people think of problems, but it's just not getting their way. I find myself when I'm in deep reflection, it's not really a problem. It's just the chips didn't fall where I wanted it to fall. So is that really a problem, or that's something I need to grind harder on? So a lot of times, you got to fight yourself. Everything is a war, a battle.
It's very difficult. I wake up at 2:45. I'm at the gym by 4 a.m. I eat a certain way. And I mean, I stay away from the drugs and alcohol and vices. So, I mean, these are all the things that'll break you. And if anybody's listening, if you want to start somewhere, drop the drugs, drop the alcohol, and realize that's where you start. That's where everything begins. And then you start to really listen to your conscience and go within and say, like, what needs to change in me? Everybody thinks they're
Yeah, I want to echo that as well. Somebody, I don't know if I told this story before on air, but I'll tell it again if I did. Y'all pardon me again. We up to that 8 year with the show, so sometimes it gets repetitive. But when I first started my jobs working in 1998, and I first got put on child support, so it stunned me at one time. Used to making X amount of dollars, and then all of a sudden I get hit for extra $800 a month, what I was used to, which I just needed to budget. But my first reaction was to get a nighttime job, get a job that I'm on my off days so I could bring in the extra money to compensate for that. So I was at a corner store with a Shell gas station, and I seen the now hiring sign. I was like, well, how much you paying your clerks? I knew the guy was the owner that was in there. They're like, yeah, man, I might be looking for an extra job at night and during the weekend. And the guy hit me for a Jew. I'll never forget this. This was over 20-something years ago. He said, yeah, you don't need an extra job. Somebody like you just need to get rid of the alcohol, the drugs, and the women. And it hit me. And like, I never was into alcohol or drugs. But what he was saying to me is that you need to cut all your vices, and then you'll have the money. So that stuck with me. So he's basically saying the same thing. He's echoing the same thing. Cut all your vices, because think about it. A lot of the vices are unnatural. So if you cut the unnatural stuff, the natural stuff, your natural urges, which is, food, water, shelter, clothing, sex, stuff like that, those are a lot easier to tackle. If you got master your unnatural, the natural should be easier, or natural you should have a better advantage of tackling your natural urges. So if you can't master your unnatural, the natural has no chance.
so fucking intelligent. But the true sign of intelligence is a man's ability to change and stay that way.
Well said.
No, I have a question. You mentioned, you told me once in prison you read Marcus Aurelius. I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding what Stoicism is. Can you express how you use it?
I mean, I literally just I stayed so disciplined. Who the fuck's gonna come out of prison, like not even live this life that everyone's living out here, and make as much money as I did and rise to where I'm at today and still never break? I made a commitment to myself, and the commitment was deeper than anything. So what everyone really like worries about how I react and I speak. What about in the morning when you don't get up and your bitch ass lays back down? What about all you pussies who literally think you're gonna kill it in the gym and you quit after 2 months? What about everybody who starts a business and doesn't follow through on their business plan? The whole thing is like, I don't give a fuck about how I feel. I get it done anyways. So being stoic means you don't care about your feelings. You'll get the work done anyways. And I mean,
that's a bar as well, man. So I never looked at stoic in that way. My definition of stoic is non-emotion, almost like a Vulcan. No matter what happens, you still keep your logic and keep your head on, you keep plowing away. So that gave me a different perspective, as with actions. All right, no matter how you feel, keep your commitment to yourself and do what you said that you were going to do. So that's a jewel right there.
It's the easiest way to measure who someone is. When it comes down to it, the work that needs to be done, do they get it done or not?
Well said.
Cool. I always read these kind of, I don't call them self-help, but if what's the guy that wrote Unscripted? I forget the guy's the author.
Marco?
Was it? Yeah, Mark. So yeah. I'll read stuff like that, or I'll read these guys who are like, they'll say, okay, I've got like 12 tips for to live a better life, or how was it Unscripted? Like how to go from like nothing to everything. And usually it starts off with sort of this Batman origin stories, like I was born a poor black child in the inner city, and suddenly if I can do it, you can do it too. I don't have that story, okay. And I think that's probably a little bit more realistic place to start right now. I'm not saying that, not to take anything away from guys who like have actually had to overcome adversity, but I think a vast majority of guys they're just regular dudes, right? They grew up in suburban, America or something like that. But those guys are the ones who are sedating themselves. Those are the guys who are still kind of half asleep, right? Yeah. And it took me a while to sort of like sort that out for myself, because like I mean I had just a pretty average life. I didn't have like some sort of I didn't go to prison. I didn't go I was never in any kind of like real trouble in my life, but it was just sort of coming out of the doldrums, right? It's like it's coming out of that sedation. And I've said on this show several times, it's like the first place you want to start, if you want to read all these self-help things, if you want to learn like get all this sort of positive.
I could bear witness to that as well, man. Like I said, a lot of times, especially how this thing is set up, we're fighting ourselves. Raz Kass had a line in his Solo on Ice album, his first album. He said, mediocrity, my nemesis. I ain't gonna repeat the rest of the bar because it's cursing and stuff, but that's always stuck out to me as well. He said, mediocrity is my nemesis. So this particular country is kind of set up. I think I said this before on a podcast as well. It's set up for you to live vicariously and for you to live mediocre. And they want that, that the majority of people in that particular average group, average guy, average Joe, worker, 9 to 5, consume, die. No thinking, no, and a lot of stuff like Rollo said is sedation, is pacifiers, is stuff to keep you asleep, to keep you in that particular mediocrity, that mediocre lifestyle. So it's not designed for you to, get or do the necessary things to get you to the top.
Activity mojo thing going on for yourself. The best thing you can do is stop sedating yourself. And that's the number one problem I think I see with like most like young guys, especially at the latter half of the millennials and like most of Gen Z right now, is they sedate themselves with pornography. They sedate themselves with alcohol, with prescription opioids. You just weed. I mean, with the moment weed became like, legal in states and everything, it's like the productivity and everybody just sort of like is listless and lazy and they don't want to do anything. And like Wes here, it's like, I don't drink. I used to work in wine and spirits. Let
me stop it right there. I've noticed the difference in just customer service, this all around happiness and this all around pride in your job. Since I don't know if it's the combination of weed legal. Don't forget that in my day, I know I'm sounding old school, I'm dating myself, that porn was around, but you couldn't readily get it like you do now. Like everybody got a phone, you got access to porn, period. Back in the day, you either have to have a DVD player, you have to have like a satellite, you have to be of age, or you have to know somebody to hook you up with porn. Now you got a phone. Kids at 12, 13 years old have access to porn unless you have some parental blockers on there. And then even then, you could be on X or Twitter or something like that, and you'll see a clip of pornography. And basically, Instagram is soft porn. So, with that overstimulation, it leads to non-motivation. Because think about it: if you back in the day, this off of that testosterone. That's another thing. They say testosterone is down, at an all-time low, because think about it, if that testosterone is kicking back in the days, if you wanted to see a woman's shape, you had to either go out and get a girlfriend or go out and about. Now you just click on this phone and you got all the TNA that you want. So the drive is not there. Same thing with animals. Like if you give them everything, they lose that edge, that drive. A lot of times this is what we lost.
Before I became Rolex Mossy, that's all I did. I was working in the liquor business for a long time. And I've seen guys go from like being very productive people to being very like just listless, lazy, and just, go downhill. Mm-hmm. And it was right around the time I was writing my fourth book, Religion. I said, you know what, I'm going to stop drinking until I finish this book. And because I was more productive as a writer. I was more, I never had a DUI. I never had any problem with it. It's just that I wanted to be more productive, and I couldn't do that if I was like, drinking on a Friday and then recovering on a Saturday and then, trying to pick myself up on a Sunday again. It was just not pragmatic to do it anymore. It was just made sense not to do shit like that. And that's what taught me like leaving these sedations and leaving, like, if your online life is, your escape life, whether it's video games or whatever it is, if your living that escape life is better than your shitty life, you got a problem. That's when you have to sort of make a decision whether you want to live in the real world or you want to live in this sedation world. And so I said, you know what?
That's a bar right there as well. I see a lot of people live on social media, live vicariously through celebrities, live vicariously through their kids. And you got to kind of really smell yourself. You really got to kind of check yourself. If that life is better than your life that you have, you got to really, really check yourself and really smell yourself. So, you got to really get it gauged. That's one of the gifts and the curse with technology. A lot of people create whole new lives and personas online, and they keep that up more than they actually keep up their real life. People play these characters online, and they live for the comments. They live for, I give example, this guy Super Ray, that has like 1 million+ followers. I get it. That's your profession. You're making money off of this. I get it. But this guy he cannot have a life because he posts so much online unless he's just at night making these memes at night and making these videos at night and just spreading them out through the day. But he's like, he has at least drops at least 10 vids a day. I admire his work ethic, but for him, he must live online. And some people, hey, that's the thing. The technology is there where you can, like Keith Lee and Mr. Chinatime and all these food critics, that's what they do. So video gamers, Kai and all these guys, these big streamers, that's what they do. A lot of people are leaving the real world for the stream world, and that's one of the things that we created with the metaverse and created a whole new avenue with employment. So a lot of people are leaving that and going to that because it's a lot easier. However, for the wannabes, if you're not there yet, you got to really smell yourself.
I'm going to stop drinking until I'm done with this book. And then 3 years later, because it took me a long time to write the book, I thought, okay, well, I'll just, then I'll celebrate with a drink or something like that. And I got to 3 years. I'm like, I don't want to. I just simply don't want to do it anymore.
So you mentioned vices that we all have as men. You mentioned the P word. You mentioned drinking, weed. And us as men, we have this issue all the time because we're here in the world. Things are going to happen. How do you deal with vices growing up as a man? How do you get over vices?
I think the first thing is recognizing that you have them and recognizing that they're a problem. And there's a concept that I learned from Robert Greene, the author of 48 Laws of Power, right? This isn't any of his books. It's like from his interviews. And Robert Greene has this concept called live time and dead time. Okay, so if you're in your car commuting to work, that's dead time. If you are giving your time to an employer, that's dead time because you're not doing anything to grow. You're not doing anything to progress. It's a concept, really. I think he mentions it a little bit in Mastery, in his book Mastery. And so what you need to do is you need to start looking at the times where you have the time that you can take that is live time, meaning it's all you. and you could do whatever you want to with it. Now, most people, they'll go play video games. They'll go smoke weed. They'll want to relax. They want to just get away from all the responsibilities that have to do, relax, leisure time, and then get back to work.
This hit hard right here for me personally. You know, I want to tie two things in here together. Like, I like what he said is that his response was, you know, you got to admit that you have devices and admit that they're a problem. You know, it's like that OAA thing, admit that you're an alcoholic. First step in the recovery is admitting that you're alcoholic, and then admitting this to the problem, and then, you know, you could go from there. A lot of people don't recognize this. They don't know that, you know, hey, this pornography is a problem. That, you know, for my thing is fast food. I love the convenience. I don't like to cook. I don't like the meal prep. So my thing is fast food. My thing is, you know, I used to love the gym. I just got to get in the routine to go back to the gym. It's just a matter of convenience. It's making money, make money, and then everything else is secondary. So I gotta cut that out. It's becoming a vice. And then I like what he said. The second tier is, I like what he said as far as dead time and live time. Live time is the time that you have to make things happen. And a lot of times when I do have live time, I prioritize rest a lot. I know rest and recovery is important, but I think I overdo. That's my personality. I overdo it. So, you know, I need to get my 8, 9, maybe 10 hours of sleep, but sometimes I'll take a nap during the day. It might be, you know, that 40 plus thing. I'll take a nap during the day and relax. You know, I'll put an hour or two to relax. And I used to take an hour or two a day to mess with social media. I used to take an hour a day to read or research. So, and then as of lately, I've been using that hour or two to relax, you know, and take it easy. So I need to switch that over and maximize. You know, I used to have a slogan back in the days, a couple of years ago, maximize your 16. So that's basically we're saying maximize all of your time that you have. It's precious.
Afterwards, and that's what the vast majority of people do. But that live time, that is the time that you have that can be the most productive, that's where you need to like hunker down, and that's where you need to focus on right there. So when you're in your live time, you're building something, you're building a brand, you're building it. I don't care what it is. If you're an ideas guy, work on that idea. If you're an artist, if you're a musician, if you're an entrepreneur, that live time, once you start investing in that live time will help you get out of the dead time that you're in right now. And that will help you transition out of being like sort of this, you know, 9-to-5 wage slave into somebody that can actually like focus on a brand and has time for themselves, so that they can develop that into something greater than what they were before, and then escape from that shitty life that they have into something better.
All right.
I mean, there's just so much wrong with Robert Greene. Have you seen that fucking creep?
It's
Jeez.
because he's had a stroke. That's why.
Yeah, but I mean,
the dude has
Jesus.
had a stroke.
But can you really make a thing about seducing women while having a picture like that on the? Pull up the seducing women.
He's only got one book that's called The Art of Seduction. But everything else is not.
It doesn't even matter. I don't get. But I'm just saying, like, when someone writes a book, I turn it around and say, do I want to be like this motherfucker? And like, there is no way half the authors that people speak about I even want to be remotely like. So that was a big reason why I had to write a fucking book. And I probably sold more copies than some of these motherfuckers. Not Robert Greene, though. But I'm just saying, I didn't read his book in prison. Robert Greene's book in prison is actually contraband. Yeah, you can't get 48 Laws of Power in prison. But the thing.
Wow, I didn't know that. Like, damn, that's one of my all-time favorites. I think I gave that book to my daughter on her 16th birthday. It's 48 Laws of Power. It's one of my favorite books. I think we even did a breakdown of all 48 laws before on the Power of Ownership podcast, me and Steven Contreras. So man, that's one of my all-time favorite books. So that goes to show you what I said earlier. Like, you know, if it's contraband in the prisons, that means they don't want you to actually critically think.
Thing is, I think it's massively manipulative. I didn't manipulate anyone in prison. I inspired people to change. And I love when people disagree with me, because I did more than them already in 6 years, so they could suck my fucking dick. But I mean, the whole thing is like, The point is I need results. If I'm going to follow a man, I need results. And why are so many people opting out of having a true result and saying it's because they didn't want it? You fucking liar. That's like half these people who talk shit on hot chicks in the comments and say, I don't like BBLs and fake tits. I like a natural girl. Yeah, your chick's real natural. And she's just sitting there all, and you're like, yeah, there's your chick, homie. Chick's all natural next to her. And it's just.
Hey, he's crass and he's rude, but us men, we like to hear that. He's straight up real. Like, you know, you really got to smell yourself. Like, man, a lot of people turn their nose at stuff and say they don't want it because they can't obtain it. You know, even I find myself like, even at this older age, you know, like say for example, I at one point I liked mansion. And I noticed this. I noticed this when I looked at my goals from the last 5 to 7 years. I looked at some goals from 7 years ago just to see how I progressed. And I looked at my vision board 7 years ago in 2017. They had mansions on there. So now, as of like the last 3-4 years, like, man, I kind of looking at the taxes, like, man, I don't want a mansion. You know, it makes sense practically because, you know, you're looking at the taxes that could be 3%. You know, you're talking 30, 40, $50,000 a year just on the taxes on that. So I got to ask myself, why am I scared of the taxes? Am I scared of not balling out? If you top 1%, you shouldn't have no fear about paying your $50,000. Step it up. Have a contingency plan in place to pay that $50,000. That way you can want a mansion again. So, you know, so you start to turn your nose at stuff because it seems out of reach, and you really got to smell yourself and like, all right, am I waving the white flag? Am I really waving the white flag? And he made, you know, same thing for chicks. I get it what he's saying with the BBL. I really don't like it. But, you know, I get what he's saying. Like, some people say they don't like him because they can't get it. I get it. You got to
all
smell
this shit's
yourself.
crazy. Like, when everyone quits lying, they'll get somewhere. The only people I can really work with and be around are people who are not liars. They're like, I could be in better shape. I could be richer. I could be smarter with my financial decisions. I could be a little more calm, but I don't like that. I'm where I'm at because I've never had a job. I sold drugs my whole life. I went to prison and I came out, and like I say, I ran shit in prison. I ran shit on the streets. These other I ran shit on the streets. I run shit everywhere I go. Before prison, I was a millionaire. In prison, I had more money than most of these motherfuckers. And out of prison, I'm murdering everybody in 6 years. They're not even close to me. I just parked $10 million worth of cars down the street and left them there with my 2 security guards just watching my damn cars. My day costs more than most of these people in the comments have in their bank accounts. But I mean,
again, he's crass with it, but you can't argue with results. We used to say this a lot when I had my one of my first businesses, had a couple of video stores. And my cousin and I always used to say this, like when I was in the bodybuilding. And one of our slogans is you can't argue with results. People want to see it, you know. You can't argue with that. If you see it, there's no story, there's no explaining to do. You see the results. If he's pulling up with $10 million of cars, you know, now people try to make stuff up, but you know he's doing something. Even if he's trying to rent the cars, you know he's doing something to be able to afford to rent these type of cars, you know. So you can't argue with results.
this is the whole thing. I don't care. When you get to my level of not caring, you won. Everybody said everything about me. They talked all the shit. They try to do this. And the thing they will never do is break me. And that's what my boy Jado said the other day. He said it was in the book Conversations with God. And it said, someone asked him, someone asked someone else, when's the next man coming that's going to save us and speak for us? And God said, he's not. And he said, why not? He said, he fears the criticism. So everybody's afraid of really telling the truth. They're really afraid of coming out with what they know in their heart's true. And everybody knows in their heart that dudes should not have tits.
Oh, no.
Man, we're already there.
I want to say this real
Dudes
quick.
should not have titties. It's just a thing. But I mean, hey, Michael, get them.
So just going back, the first question when we talk about stoicism, and then the second question when we talk about diversions, right? The sedations. The thing happens is like the further we get away from a survival scenario where we were surviving as humans, like say 50,000 years ago, there was no time for porn. There was no time for fucking around. There was no time, any of this stuff. There's no time for video games. Everything was about survival. Everything aided you in survival. And the human brain was built for that, because the majority of our existence was a very, very rough, brutal existence up until about 8,000 years ago. And so now we're not evolved for it. So now all of a sudden we have violent, industrious men have constructed huge cities that we've chiseled out these little safe areas where we can go on YouTube and talk shit. Like, seriously, like what part of do you remember that video where Mike Tyson is beating the shit out of some dude on an airplane? I guarantee you that guy has made comments on YouTube and just forgot that in real life people hit you back, because the human brain was not made to write things and then not face people. You remember we had Marquette on, and Marquette was like, do you want to know why men are respectful to each other? Because we can go nuke on each other. Mutually assured destruction. And so you lose that part of your brain. And then the other part is like, you are rewarded for accomplishing goals. And you have to accomplish those goals because you have a wife and a family to take care of, and because you have a job you have to do. If you work in, let's say, law enforcement, construction, whatever, if you're sick, your wife leaves you, you still have to go to work. So we as men have a burden of performance, and we have to do that thing even if we don't fucking feel like it, which is stoicism, which is why I asked the question before.
I know he took a long time to get to the point. I like that part of what he said. As far as you got to do things that you don't want, the burden of performance is on a man. That's why Atlas had the world on its shoulders. It just is what it is. You can't get away from that. A lot of, even I came under the guise, being in our culture is a matriarchal culture by nature, dear mama and all that, Tupac. So only seeing things from one lens. If you're raised by a single parent, a lot of times we see stuff through a feminine lens. So, and I came up Generation X, so we right after the feminist movement. So, Color Purple in our community, all this other stuff. So we came up under the partner 50-50. Everything's equal. And that's not true. That was a big lie. As far as, we're still held accountable for everything. We're still that managerial, that leader that everything falls back on. So the 50-50 is only a guise. The real thing is 100% on you if it doesn't work. So the burden of performance is on you. So hey, it's not fair. She's doing, it's all on you. And that's what you got to suck up. That's what I had to learn later on in life.
Is the idea that even when it sucks, we still have to do that thing, because the alternative that we have is to be weak and slow and dumb, which is something that we're afforded now because we live in a softer society than our ancestors did.
Well said.
Going to the stoicism thing, I agree with Wes's interpretation of it. Stoicism is more along the lines of doing things when you don't feel like doing it, right? And having that masculine discipline to get it done regardless of how you feel. But for some odd reason, like, YouTubers in the content creation world, like, oh, you got to practice stoicism, Myron. You need to be less ranty and all this other shit. And in my head, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Because if I did, you'd be bored. You wouldn't watch. You'd be like, oh, this is not entertaining, etc.
That's true.
Like, the one thing I've learned about coaching men is you got to inspire them. And you're not going to inspire them by talking monotone like this. And I think you need to go to the gym and exercise and eat well, because if you don't, you're probably going to be fat.
So Myron, here's the difference. When you're passionate about, because I've seen you before get excited about improving men's lives. And we've had guys come on here. They've called me, they've called him, they've called you about not taking their own life. When you passionately respond to that, that's still stoic, because you're motivated about accomplishing a goal. Like, again, when you express yourself in the gym by lifting more weight, you can still have energy towards accomplishing a goal. It's that you're not affected.
The reason I'm a good coach and I help people is because if someone says,
let me respond to that before he goes on to something else. I concur as well. I used to think stoicism, and I'm changing my perspective now that I watched this particular podcast. I thought stoicism was more of the emotional non-react to emotional situations, being unaffected. but you could tie that into actions as well. So that's the layer that I just gained from watching this.
That they're suicide or they're going to take their own life, or if someone, I tell people in my group all the time, if you died in front of me, I'd step on the back of your fucking head and walk over you into the gym and handle the rest of my fucking day. And that's the thing, everyone's so fucking weak, they give a shit. Like, I don't remember that there was anything in my life that made me opt out of the work I had to do. It wouldn't matter if anyone in this room dropped dead. I would, if I died, I want you guys to kill it tomorrow and not take one.
That was so hard. That was hard. That was a hard bar that, most people not going to feel. And most people think that's too harsh because we're in the era with it's all toxic masculinity and everything got to be softened and everything is, and, so a lot of feminine attributes are to the forefront. So he said that, hey, if you drop dead, I'm going to step on, if you pass out or something, I'm going to step on your head and continue my day. That's the commitment that I have to myself, that said he don't recall any situation will make him opt out of the work that he got to get done. That's the ultimate commitment to yourself. That's the type of dying commitment that got things done back in the days, that won wars and that overthrew countries, and that commitment that that started movements and stuff like that I think we lost. We're so used to. I think masculine is that commitment, that logic, that unwavering devotion. I think, and this is not meaning that male or female. I'm talking about masculine and feminine. I think female is to run, to seek shelter, to hide. And I think a lot of grown men have that in them. They, stuff don't go their way, they run. First thing conflict, they run. First thing, first time they mess up, they hide. And we. Man, that's so hard, man. Like, you gotta, nothing could shake you from getting your job done, from doing the commitment that you committed to. That's what wins wars. That's what gets the results that you need. Unwavering commitment, fire.
Second out of your day.
Okay.
And that's the thing. I don't even want anybody to really be fazed by what we think is the worst thing. People cry about their problems. Okay, who died? Who got life in prison? And even if those happen, who gives a fuck? Keep it going. Like, nobody's really ever lost that much. And the thing is like, they just think they're losing because, like I said before, they haven't gained. And I have everything that someone would want. And in all reality, I'll still never opt out of the work because I know the work instills the worth. I won't have worth in these 24 hours.
That boy said the work instills the worth. I need to think about that for a second. A lot of people in their mind just think they so special and work everything, and they, and again, I got to go back to the masculine and feminine. I think it's feminine to, hey, I'm so special, I'm the special little princess. And it's affecting guys as well. Like, man, we don't get the same privileges, guys. Our ancestors put up pyramids and built monuments and conquered nations. This is my legacy. It's about what you do. It's about what you create. It's not about because I feel like it. And you should see me so I see me. Self-esteem, what you putting on film, what you putting on paper, what you putting in the history books, that's your work. And it all comes from work.
If I don't put in the work I need to do in these 24 hours, being in prison and shit gives you the mindset of just getting through today perfectly, getting through the next day perfectly. When you string together 7 perfect days, you have a perfect week. When you string together perfect weeks and perfect months, you have a perfect year. When you do that for 6 years, you beat everybody around you.
Hard. That's hard too, man. Woo! He's spitting on this right now. Kobe used to do the same thing. He would, like he said on a famous interview, like instead of working out 3 times a day, he would squeeze that 4th one in. And then over the course, that's 7 extra practices a week, 30 extra a month. And then over the course of 5 years, you look that up and boom, you got that many more practices than everybody else. So of course he's going to be better than everybody else because you put in that much more work, so it's all mathematics. It's all about how deep you want to get to how much you want to get out. Like my mentor, Mattress Max, said, you got to make a deposit before withdrawal. So how you going to want to withdraw $1 million out of the bank when you didn't put $1 million in? This don't make no sense. So we got to really smell ourselves and check ourselves.
They're like, how'd you do that? I'm like, I just did the same day every day. I never took back steps, and you did. And that's the thing. It's like, it's very simple. Everything we have to do is very simple, but everybody lacks personal development so much they can't do the simple plan every day. Yeah. And they think it's something so complex. I'm like, bro, if you saw how I run my business, you would laugh at how simple it is. And you guys will overcomplicate it. Top people have to come to me to show them what they're doing wrong because they learn from business guys. And business guys made it such a fucking problem. And I'm like, it's a personal brand. It's not a business. You have to run it differently. And they're just like, what? They don't understand it. And I pull away so much unneeded bullshit in their business, and they're actually profiting again. But I mean, fuck, bro. Everybody's got so much advice to give and so little results. And that's the problem with the internet and the world. So if anyone comes up to you and they're not living the life you want, just tell them to shut the fuck up and get away. And
hard again, bro. That was, man, he's spitting right now. This is why I said this is a very, very motivational video, and it's very, very direct, which I like. I mean, man, it's hard, right? He said, let's unpack this. A lot of these internet gurus, I know it's a get rich quick, I know it's the hustle. I get it, but however, the playing field that's out there now is like a lot of people want to be respected and want to be a mentor, and you don't have the results. What results do you have? How are you, going to teach somebody about buying a home and you're still renting? How you going to be, let's talk about our profession as far as real estate. How you going to be a real estate agent and you don't have any investment properties. You don't even own your home. You're in an apartment. How can you teach somebody about home ownership and you're not financially free? So a lot of people, want to teach and they don't have the results backing them. Secondly, before he got off of that, he was talking about that, just touching on that commitment as well. That commitment to be excellent. Man, it's there's so much that I'll let him finish before I go ahead and I'll rabble on this.
There's not one person that will ever come up to me in person, face to face, and I will not tell them the truth. That is what I think all men should start doing, and women, so they don't feel so used, so walked over, so fucking resentful towards people that fucking wrong them. Like, call them on it. Don't hold that shit in,
And I was also going to say too, just to finish my thought, like, they say, oh, practice stoicism, blah, blah, blah. There's a reason why when you're in the military and you're training for war, you can speak to this, Mike, they're not sitting there saying, oh, well, you should do some push-ups and we're going to go run for a few miles and we're going to come back. No, it's, hey, you fucking maggot, drop down and give me 50, etc. Why? Because men respond favorably a lot of the times to being yelled at and ridiculed because it makes you urgency and then also the need to compete, right? So like
that's so true. And that's why, a lot of people say it's hard for a woman to raise a man. Because we respond better to masculine energy, and masculine energy is hard for women to come across. Even though they try to imitate masculine energy, it still doesn't come across as masculine, and it comes across as bitchy. It comes across as abusive more than it comes across as masculine. So and I think that's a lot of our single mom products I think that's, how we got where we at a lot, right now is like, our mom's trying to be masculine, but she couldn't. It came across as abusive, calling us out our name, calling us this and calling us that, to try to get us to respond. But it didn't really, it didn't fit. It comes across as degrading and emasculating. Now, if it came across as from a guy, from your dad, your father, it's a different type of energy. It's more of a sense of urgency. It's more of a sense of competitiveness. All right, let me, So that's why the family unit is so important, man. That's why all of this makes sense. All of this makes sense. That's why we, as men, we used to have a rite of passage. You got football coaches, you have mentors and stuff like that. Even the military, drill sergeants, like Myron said, military coaches and stuff like that. I got myself a mentor. I used to play ball, so that is where I got my discipline. Also, I was in the martial arts, so senseis and stuff like that. That's where I got my masculine discipline from.
With men, you have to be brutally honest with them. And another thing too, I've noticed with men versus women, when you give criticism, like with men, if the criticism is coming from a valid source who is better than them or emulates something that person wants, they look like something like that person wants to emulate, just like Wes was saying. I want to be able to look at this person to be able to respect them, etc. They will go and respond favorably to that because it's one or two
facts. That's just what I said. When your dad comes with that energy, you respect your dad, in most cases. Not every, we're talking in general here, not talking, absolutes. So you respect that particular man. So when they come at you like that, it's something like you want to be like. So you're going to start emulating and you're going to respect that and you're going to tighten up. It doesn't come across quite like your mom, because though you may admire your mom, you love your mom, you respect it, it doesn't. You're not trying to, especially if you're straight, you're not trying to emulate her, so it just comes across different. The energy is different.
Things. They say you could be either like the losers that I was on the Jubilee podcast with, where they'll say, well, shame doesn't work, and just tell me nicely. You could be a pussy and be a loser, be in that fucking camp.
That was so hard to watch.
You can respond favorably to it, be like, you know what? You're fucking right. I am a fat piece of shit. And I need to lose weight and get my life together. And then the winners are going to rise, and then the losers are going to stay losers, and that's fine. We need winners and losers.
I remember when you were defending Fresh, and you got really
also just to announce this. This podcast. Although if I wasn't motivated, hey, I'm committed now to dropping the pounds. Because it's Don should not live by brain power alone or by just my success alone. People want to see it, so I need to go back to the old school. Even though I'm not chasing tail like I once was, or out in the streets. It's just a matter of respect. People respect what they see. So if you look like you got it together, people respect it. It's dumb to me because I'm on a whole nother intellectual plane as far as outside the physical. But again, you got to meet people where they at. People see. If you want to see a six pack, you respect shreddedness and the arms popping, and that makes you respect me a little bit more and want to listen more apt to listen to what I say. That's what I got to do. Plus, it's easier on the heart. Plus, it does like Andrew Tate says, when you do, it gives you that edge to keep performing. So I'm back committed. Yeah, I'm not gonna, that's why I kind of took a break from social media. I'm gonna getting everything together as well. So y'all gonna see me. Y'all gonna see me back again.
Heated. Yeah. In fact, I did a whole response
again.
I mean, you broke the damn cup. You got the new cup. Yeah, that's.
By the way,
glad to see that's back.
Coffee, 70.75.
Yeah, there you go. I was gonna say, it's like when I was doing the breakdown of that video when you were defending him, and people were like, oh, he's so emotional. Look at him, he's losing his mind. He's frothing at the mouth.
Of course.
And every time like I get a little bit impassioned about stuff that I talk about, especially like when it comes down to like the shit that's going on with the DHS and the NGOs and shit. Like I'm basically being like fucking ratioed by the government right now. So if I get a little heated about that, it's not because I'm like, oh, you're the rational male. You're supposed to be, you don't get emotional. I'm like, I'm not Mr. fucking Spock, man. if I think that there's a reason to emphasize certain points, I'm gonna fucking emphasize those points. And that's what Wes does. Is emphasizes fucking points. And so I think
when did that ever become a thing that a man was so good at debating? Motherfucker, I'll kick your teeth in, fool.
See,
the fuck are you talking about?
So the thing is like when like as far as like Wes is concerned, it reminds me of this. I think it's a quote by by Jerry Rice, who said, today I will do what others won't.
Yeah.
So tomorrow I can do what others can't.
Yeah.
I think that's
fire. If that's by Jerry Rice, let me repeat that. The day I will do what others won't, so tomorrow I can do what others can't. So that's fine. Jerry Rice, by the way, one of my favorite players, even though I hated him because he was like, 49er, and the 49ers were in our division once upon a time when we were in the NFC West. I'm a big Saints fan, so but nobody can knock his work ethic, this mean work that he'll run. He'll have a whole nother running session after practice was over. So man, this dude, he used to catch bricks and stuff, for his dad. So I mean, his work ethic was crazy, and that that's what you got to do in order to be the greatest, man. You got to put in the work, and that's just what this is. Well, 1 + 1 = 2.
That's a problem. Those are pretty good words to live by.
Beautiful.
So we spoke about obviously mindset, stoicism. What about staying motivated? A lot of people say, for example, okay, I want to be successful, but it's a journey you got to take.
These motherfuckers, they act like they're like they're family. They're straight family men and shit. Like, and then they can't even look at their family and realize they're underperforming for their family.
I don't even need to add to that, man. If y'all don't get that, man.
Like, literally, how the fuck are you not trying to be a superhero for your fucking wife, your kids, or anyone? Even if you don't have a family, when I was in prison, it was my future family. It was the future that I wanted to step into. So I had to be this certain type of man when I came out. And I mean, that's what happens. It's just you have
fire, man. How do you not want to be a superhero for your kids and your wife? And that's the only way she gonna respect you, is if you're maximizing your potential, and that she sees the God in you. That you first of all submit to a God, and then you become that God in the flesh. And she recognizing that, and she's gonna praise. That's what she praises. And so, how can you not do that if you don't have a purpose? You don't know what you're supposed to be doing. You're out here aimlessly, and you want to have fun just like a woman. You want to just, you want to look good like a woman. You ain't, how's it gonna happen? So man, that was so hard. That was so hard bar.
Have a vision of what you need to fit. Like you can't think that you're gonna just step into it when you get gifted the woman and gifted the situation. You have to become that guy way beforehand. And that's why a lot of these guys are failing. They don't realize the success equation is preparation meeting opportunity. There's plenty of opportunities on the internet. They just suck. So no one watches their content. There's plenty of women out there for them. They're just dumb and ugly motherfuckers. So no one fucks with them. So I mean, and in the whole pool of men, like, you pulled up in a shitty car, bro. You look like shit. Like, you're a dumbass. Like, what the fuck is this? You're not winning in the woman's game. Like, they're not going to choose you. Would you even choose you, motherfucker? Most of these guys would never choose them. And that's the thing. Like, start preparing to get the life you want. And if you,
that's hard too, man. You got to really, really, again, smell yourself. You got to look at yourself. Not only, I'm not talking about the dating game. Look at your profession. Like, as a, even as a real estate agent, you got to look, hey, if I was in the customer's shoes, would I choose me? That's hard. If you got a restaurant or whatever, whatever you're doing, you got to ask, you got to put yourself, reverse empathy, should I say. Put yourself in the customer's shoes and ask them, would you choose you? And then how would the customers experience you? Hard. That's hard.
You want to win, beat everybody around you. That was my goal. I'm just going to beat.
Another bar, man. He's dropping them, bro. If you want to win, beat everybody around you. A lot of people talk this crap. Oh, ain't no competition. I'm in a competition by myself. But competition, look at the root word, calm, just like community, calm. Competition makes you better. It's a pace marker. You know, you wouldn't play, run a race by yourself. It's you know, it, things are like it is for us to um see where we're at as in relation to other things, so they can help us speed up. So it's one of the, especially on the masculine tip. So you got to beat everybody around you again.
Beat everybody
Hard.
around me. I'm gonna be more jacked than I'm gonna have better cars. I'm gonna have more money.
Mm.
I'm gonna fucking speak better. I'm gonna have a better fucking Instagram, all the shit that matters, and I'm gonna beat them.
But Wes, devil's advocate here. But I'm not motivated, bro.
Oh, well, I don't give a fuck. Die then. Fall in the fucking gutter.
I don't give a fuck that.
We'll leave you in the gutter. Dude, I should never even have to say anything. You should be able to see me up and take that as a motivation. The fact that I have to speak to you, even I'm showing everything I do all day, and you could just model after it. The fact that I have to tell you stuff to motivate you too. How big of pussies are these people?
So one time, and only one time, I saw a guy in a Lamborghini pull up to Starbucks. Right, it's when I first came to America.
It's the best.
I just saw a guy pull up in a Lamborghini, blonde chick in the front seat, top down. I'm like,
needed that.
I need that shit.
Needed it.
And I said to myself, you know what? I'm scared right now. I'm nervous. I'm gonna stutter. But I'm gonna walk up to him and ask him, what do you do for a living? I mustered up the courage, walked over there. I said, brother, sorry to bother you, man, but I'm out of breath, by the way. What do you do for a living? He said, I invest in real estate. Multifamily properties. I have passive income. That's how I make money nowadays. I live and I do whatever I want. I'm like, really? So you know what I did? On YouTube that same day, typed in how to buy real estate. I went on a 2-year journey studying real estate, how to get it. I could have said, you know what? Fuck this guy. He's a Lambo.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a dirtbag.
Yeah.
But
again, I say this this is probably the most repeated slogan I have on the podcast. Asking you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and the door should be open unto you. A lot of people just want 1/3 of the actual equation, the asking, the prayer, and they want to just have it drop down out of the sky on some lottery scratch off type things. But it's all three that's needed. Like Fresh just said, he did the research. That's the seeking. You got to research. You got to do your due diligence. And then you got to get your butt up and work and knock on the door. It's not just going to pray and then it's going to open sesame. You got to get your butt up and knock. That's how this thing works. Action.
then 2 years later, worked overtime, left my first job, got 2 jobs, and then bought a property. And again, was it someone telling me, oh, bro, stay motivated? Is no. I know what I want. I'm going after it.
Yeah.
That was it. So yeah, motivation, man.
That's what the internet
That's
really. The biggest thing to the internet is this: like, I'm somebody's vision of what they want. If I ain't your vision of what you want, then pass the fuck on. But I'm someone's vision of the life they want, and then I show the actions to get it. And the words I speak are their self-talk when they're going through the actions and needing the motivation. So a lot of people don't realize that they actually they'll use you. So they can't get up in the morning. So they're like, Wes got up in his cell and still did his burpees. I can do mine. So there's 2 types of people: the person who operates from their higher self and they see their better self doing the work. And then there's people who actually use you as like an alter ego. And I mean, nothing's right or wrong. Todd Herman was one of my coaching clients and he wrote the alter ego effect. And I mean, this is like even top.
That was hard too. That went over a lot of people's heads. He said 2 people in their higher self that already realize, what they got to do and do it. And then they got people that use you as an alter ego and try to, live, I get that a lot. It's almost like the planet satellite effect. I get a lot of satellites that try to live vicariously through me. They try to either have a fake competition with me or I'm their pace car, so that happens. That's so true. But just to touch back on the first one, because that's more where I am. Just a higher self is like, this is what you find out. It's like you got to let them use you to your max potential. You got to find out what your purpose is and then commit to that purpose, or die trying, and you won't die because, like I said, if that's your purpose, you're gonna fulfill your purpose. That's what's promised to you. So all you got to do is get out the way at that point. Get the ego out the way and let the higher self take over. Let the higher self take over, and then you're going to be used. Because don't forget that Brandon B. Dixon don't exist. It's the ego. It's all this is holographic universe. Our higher self is playing. This is my avatar. So the whole thing is to get used to your highest potential, make this place where it's supposed to be, what it's supposed to be, and then move on. But a lot of people can't get out their own way. They're self-sabotaging themselves. It's crazy.
Athletes, they create an alter ego to be able to do shit like Kobe Bryant used to play that
Mamba.
Yeah, where he would play the fucking Jason song like he was gonna go for murder.
Yeah.
He was gonna fucking kill everybody. And he played the fucking the theme song to Halloween or Jason or some shit. But this is him summoning a different mindset in a different individual. But the whole thing was, I've never done that. I've only used my higher self. So I was always seeing myself at the highest level and then creating that individual. And I mean, if you really believe someone has great information for you, but they haven't done anything in life, you're the stupidest motherfucker ever. Like there's too many people who don't apply the knowledge they know, and they sit there and talk, and they just talk their whole fucking lives away. If you don't have results, you need to fucking shut the fuck up till you have them. Straight up.
The question about motivation, the David Goggins, he says it a great way. He's like, you can't be motivation. It has to be obsession. Because motivation, like you'll have it for a few days and then it'll just go away. Have you ever seen somebody go to a Tony Robbins seminar and then they go right back to the mother's basement? Motivation only lasts for a certain amount of time. So what I recommend to people first is gratitude. If you ever read Steven Pinker's Enlightenment Now, you realize how lucky you are to live in a time after antibiotics, when you can live when there is, like, you understand the wealthiest man in the world, Henry VIII, died of gout, which is something that's easily curable now. So much gratitude. Before the year 1850, half the Earth's population died before the age of 5. When you consider all these incredible hard lives that these people lived, more than 200 years ago, how incredibly fortunate you are. You should have gratitude. The second is you think about like professional athletes making $40 million a year and they still don't come out and play defense. It's like they need to be motivated. It's insane that you would have that, but you don't take. It's like my man Brad Lee says: "Is would you take $10 million to not wake up tomorrow?" It's like, you wouldn't? Okay, then your life's worth $10 million. So wake the fuck up. The second thing is present moment awareness. It's like the concept of just totally and completely accepting the world the way that it is. I'm short or whatever. This is where I need to start from. I have to start from this place. I need to accept the way that it is so that I can take right action. It doesn't mean you condone it. If you're fat and you realize you need to recognize you're fat, it's the people who don't recognize they're fat that keep eating the same shit and keep thinking that they're just going to have a skinny mindset and the shit's going to go away. And the third one is the total and complete acceptance of your own mortality. You're going to die. It doesn't matter.
I want to speak on that because I'm guilty of that as well. I wanted people to see past the physical. I wanted people to be where I am as far as seeing past the physical, look past all of this stuff. But a lot of people can't. A lot of people just see the shell and they can't get past the shell. So it's one of those things that you got to keep mindful of. Like, hey, people gonna only react to you based on where they're at. So so that's why I'm committed. I gotta. You're right, man. As far as losing weight, hey, people dwell in the physical. So hey, I got to give them something to look up to. And hey, wouldn't that not be even the physical? Wouldn't that not be the best version of myself? So even though it's on a lower level to me, but you got to grab people where they're at. So people might be admire the physical, and then all right, let me check out what you got to do what you got to say on the intellectual level. So I can't bypass that. So I'm guilty of that. So let me
make any fuck. Like, listen, you guys are worried about posting a meme, and Wes posted a video with P Diddy. Like, seriously, he doesn't give a fuck. He's doing
someone was like, I don't know if you should post that. Post, motherfucker. What?
He's doing $3 million a month. Are you doing $3 million a month? Like,
they're not even doing $3 million in a lifetime.
Yeah, exactly.
If they made 300,000 this year, they'd be at the Bahamas drinking Mai Tais and shit, celebrating with all their buddies. I made 300 grand today, and I just didn't even want to spend any money on nothing.
Yeah.
But you made a good point. Obsession. I think for most people, they're like, you know what? I kind of want this. I'll put in some work. But when you're obsessed with it, it's all you think about. You go to sleep, you wake up, you work. That's on your mind. And even for me, for example, back then, bro, you know what I thought about? 4 things: retiring my mom, buying a Lambo, having a business, investing in real estate.
But your family's also from Barbados. You know what the other side.
Let me pause that right there as well. One of my favorite books of all time is "Be Obsessed or Be Average" by Grant Cardone. I think it came out in 2017, right when I first got into the real estate business. I love that book because it gave me permission. I always was an obsessive type person. I have an obsessive personality, as you can see. I'm obsessed. I want to say I have a addicted personality. That's why I never did drugs or alcohol, because I knew I get addicted. I'm obsessed. I get obsessed with certain things, and I overdo stuff. But I knew that. That's why I never got into alcohol and drugs, because I seen alcohol did to my grandparents. I see what it did to my friends. I see what drugs did to my friends and stuff like that. So I knew I didn't want to go down that path, because I knew if I put an artificial obstacle in my way, it's going to make it that much harder. However, I knew that that I would have to overcome these natural obstacles. I'm big, I'm black, and I'm super duper smart. So I need to overcome these natural obstacles in order to get. I don't want to put anything else in my way, So I used to get obsessed with things and be laser focused. A lot of people around me, parents, grandparents, friends, you can become isolated. They make fun of you. They poke fun at you. You gonna only live once. What else? The stupid stuff they used to say. You're gonna get burnt out, and you gotta take a vacation after. Man, last time I took a vacation was 2016. My daughter graduated from high school. When she graduated from college, I didn't even take off because she graduated during the pandemic. So I kept rolling. We did that Sunday. We did something for her. Other than that, I kept rolling. So she didn't walk the stage. So I would have took off if she'd have walked the stage. But they had the pandemic graduation. So, but I don't take off. So I don't push stuff aside. My man Cloud TJ says my favorite book is Rich Dad Poor Dad. It changed my life. We're thinking the 9-to-5 rat race will destroy you mentally. Yeah, I mean, I used to like Rich Dad Poor Dad. I gave that book along with 48 Laws of Power to my daughter at her 16th birthday. I like the book. However, two other books just hit harder to me. That 48 Laws of Power and that they give Be Obsessed, Be Average, Be Obsessed or Be Average. Grant Cardone. That's like that hit so hard because it just gave me permission to be who I am. And a lot of time in this world, dumbasses, dumb asses, they want you to be like them. And Be Obsessed or Be Average gave me the permission, like, hey, people that at the top are obsessed. And you can't, that's the thing is like Fresh just said, it's different than motivation. When you're obsessed with something, that's all you can think about. You go to sleep thinking about it. You wake up thinking about it. You got it on your mind. So that's what it takes to get to the top 1%, especially if you look like me. In this particular, you already down 21 points. So you got to overcome a lot of stuff. So you got to be a dog. You got to be a dog if you want to be in the top 1%. So you got to be obsessed with it. So this is what it is.
That looks like.
Yeah,
Family is super huge. You know what the other
people
side
are
looks like.
literally like I was saying it before we came on here. They're just way better. Like they have better energy. They don't complain. They have focus on what they want. A lot of Americans, they're fucking blaming the system and blaming all this shit. I love capitalism. I love the people that kill it. But for the most part, a lot of places, people are just fucking big ass whining victims,
Yeah.
And
I like that too. That's fire though too. I used to be around that a lot, especially coming out of high school and going into college. You get around a lot of this mindset around college. You got these woke folk that there's, you know, this everything's a conspiracy. You know, you get into all of this stuff, and hey, a lot of stuff, hey, it's true. But however, if you complain about it, you never get anything accomplished. I used to say this all the time, especially when I first opened my first business. Hey, we play on the Canadian field, meaning that in order for me to score that same touchdown, I need to go 55 yards. I don't know if y'all know that Canadian field has a 55-yard line as opposed to a 50-yard line. So it's extra 10 yards in order to make that touchdown. So you could complain about the rules, or you could just go the extra 10 yards and make the goal. So the people that complain, that energy is going to complaining. So you'll never make anything. That's why a lot of these intellectual folks are broke, because they complain about the system all the time. The system is what the system is. It's not going to change. You have to. You could get on. Once you get on and get enough power, going on enough power, then you could change the system. But by complaining about it, who's ever complained and got things done? That's that victim mind state. Whoever I'm a whine about it, that's almost like a female mind state. I'm a whine about it, nag about it, then eventually it's going to change. Men just conquer stuff. They made crusades for Christ and conquistadors, and they invaded countries and stuff that they want to change. They overthrew governments. That's how we do. You got to do it by force. Cloud said, "Yeah, you have that Grand Cardone on my emblem, man. You won't be disappointed if you get that book. You know, so many layers to it. Changed my whole mind frame. Gives you permission to be who you are, and it gives you a marker. Like, okay, you need the 10x stuff. You need to be greater than the average Joe just to be average now. So you need to be extraordinary in order to be in that top echelon of stuff. Because look at everybody's driving around in foreign cars now. It's not hard. Everybody's, you know, eating out and living a good lifestyle. The average have shifted. So now you got to be, that used to be rich activities back in the days. Now it's normal. So now you got to, you know, 100,000, that ain't gonna cut it. That's, you know, anybody, they got females that can make 100,000. So, I mean, a year. So $1 million ain't what it was a year. So you got to be extraordinary in order to get that the results, and you got to be obsessed with your results.
There's a lot of foreign people in Miami that are just go-getters. You don't even hear them fucking with this bullshit, you know?
Yados.
Yeah,
if you make $32,000 a year, you are in the top 1% of wage earners on Earth.
Damn.
On Earth.
That makes sense.
Yes.
That makes
like
sense.
that. It's when you consider
Okay.
that.
Not America.
On Earth, yeah.
In America, it's like 600,000 a year to be in the top 1%. But on Earth, it's 32,000. That's fucking madness.
Someone said it was like 5.
Well, that is, I can see that. You know, we talked about it earlier in the podcast. You know, America is on a different pace, and that kind of just ties to the point. Like, everybody's 600,000. We're you know, 100 times. You got to make 100 times damn near more. 20 times more than an earthly average. You know, in this particular country. You know, so just being average is almost, you know, lapping everybody else. So it's a different pace out here. So you got to be a dog in order to get in this top 1% out here.
Some 5 point something million the other day was net worth or something to be in the top 1%.
I don't, maybe in the
These
in
fucking
the US
memes are so fucking crazy. I think it was going by state even.
Yeah, no, but for the whole planet, when you consider like something like half the Earth's population lives on less than $5 a day, then you realize you in top 1% just making $30,000 a year. Just the fact that you guys live in North America, you have no, even if you're in Mexico, you have no idea how good you have it compared to people who live in places like Nepal or sub-Saharan Africa. Like, it's so fucking hard in some of these places, and you're lucky.
Gaza.
Yeah.
You know, people over here crying about, I don't want to work, and
people don't
lazy
even
and kids are getting bombed.
People don't even hear this negativity in other countries. They're like, "What? You have the life I want? Tell me how to get it." They just don't even give a fuck about it.
And that's
you know what I want?
Let me tag something onto that
Yeah,
real quick, because like there's a lot of guys that I know and that Mike knows who sell courses, like online courses, and there's also a reason why like self-help books, like that's like the biggest section in, like, you know, Barnes and Noble right now. The reason for that is people want that instant gratification. They want to know that if I buy this product, if I buy this pill, if I buy this, you this course, whatever, that once I do that, that's going to solve whatever I think my most immediate problem is, right? They want instant gratification, and they want, like, we live in a time where we're so used to having something immediately there for us, whether it's like our playlists on our phones, or if it's like, fast food or whatever the fuck it is, right? We're so used to being able to satisfy those, those needs really quickly, that if we encounter something that it takes longer to actually achieve, like if you want to go from being a white belt to being a black belt, you've got to put in all the time to get from the white belt to the black belt. Or if you go to the gym, it doesn't happen overnight. You have to go and consistently be doing things over and over and over again.
Dude,
So when
That's so true as well, man. I think it's the microwave popcorn, Uber Eats, instant gratification generation, and that's why we're accomplishing, less and less. However, there's certain people that know how to use the technology and use this to accomplish more and make it speed up. So it's almost, the technology is a gift and a curse. So you can use the technology and use it to your advantage, or there's a lot more average people that's falling by the wayside. Hold on, see, Cloud said, I used to be a part of the Hotep and pro-black community. I stopped listening and watching the content because there's no life improvement going on. Just blaming and complaining about the past and future. Facts. I mean, I'm the same way. I grew up, kind of part, Nation of God, the Urge, Nation of Islam, that ideology, kind of get away from it. And I when I realized, hey, it's Christianity 2.0. So all he did was replace the European gods with Master Farad Muhammad. And hey, all right, but you still have a religious mind state. All he did was switch deities. And that's part of the program that, hey, all right, hey, you Negroes don't want to accept Christianity. All right, I got something for you. Nation of Islam, Hotep, Pan-Africanism, Hebrew Israelite, same thing. It still gets you in a religious mindset. And what that is, when I say religious mindset, it means that I'm going to buy. Religious means I'm going to bind myself to something, and not grow. And don't forget that religion is designed mostly by men. It's a system designed by men in order to get you away from who you're supposed to be, which is, you realize who you are. You're part of the Most High, and you don't need a religion. You do lions and tigers have manuals on how to be lions and tigers? No, you just are. It's in your DNA. You are the book. So you just need to tap in. We already have the technologies inside of us. We need to know how to tap in. That's what a lot of this stuff is describing in these books and in these manuscripts. It's just teaching us how to tap into that oneself. And all your prophets say the same thing. Jesus and all this say the same thing. Go inside there, the kingdom of heaven is inside you. The kingdom of God is inside you. So then, Jesus, the later tradition, the Horus and Zoroaster and all the rest of them. So it's the same story being rehashed. As opposed to, I think that was designed. A lot of that stuff is put there designed for a distraction. Because think about it, if I could distract you with the, not only religion, I could distract you with gossip. I could distract you with these women, cheeks, sex, food, entertainment. Bread and circus that we get every Sunday. Then, in turn, I could take you away from not only your lifetime, like you said earlier in this video, but away from focusing and reflecting on you. Once you start doing that, then you start gaining traction and start getting into your really higher self. And once you do that, nobody can control you at that point. And don't forget, I'm a big component of words. Govern. Govern is to control. Like, if you put a governor on a truck, that means to control the speed. A governor on a speedometer, that means to control the speed. So ment is short for mental. So government, mind control. So that's what that means. So this is what it is. So it's to control the mind. If you control the mind, you control the body. Period.
you get into these courses, what happens is when you buy these courses or you buy like this books, what happens is people like don't complete those courses. They'll buy it because they think that the act of buying that course it tricks their brain into thinking that they've already completed that course, or they can always come back to it when they're ready for it. So it has this act of completion kind of like psychological effect when you get that course or you get that book or you get whatever it is that you think is going to be your magical cure for whatever is your most immediate need.
Yeah.
Then suddenly, and if you don't deliver on that, and this is something me and Myron run into quite a bit, is if you don't deliver on that, if you don't get the supermodel, if Myron and Rolo teach a course that guarantees that we're going to be able to fuck supermodels, right? We're going to get 9s and 10s immediately.
Mhm.
And if I don't get that, then these guys are charlatans, and these guys are, these guys are
Even though we don't even- They'll say we sell a course even though we don't.
Exactly. Yeah, even if we don't. And so what they're saying, because they've already made up in their mind, in their heads, they've already made up their minds that I'm going to take this course, I'm going to read this book, I'm going to do these things, these step-by-step things that this guy is selling me. And if I don't get that effect like overnight, then fuck these guys.
Yeah.
The thing is, we all kind of just address the masses of idiots too much, and that's what they want.
Yes.
The whole thing is they're so fucking stupid. They want to just be contrarians for attention.
Mhm.
They don't even want a result.
Yes.
They just want to go against what the successful people are
Yes.
doing,
Yeah.
so they can get
Yes.
fucking attention.
Yes.
So you should not even address them. Like, there's only
That's a fact as well. I've met a lot of contrarians as of late, and I think this is an internet thing as of the last 20 years. A lot of people not only are trolls online, but they troll in real life. And this contrarian mind state of just going against everybody just to be the antagonist. That it's a thing. A lot of people that, and that's the way they garner attention, and I think girls want, females supposed to want attention. I think with these contrarians is like they weren't the captain of the football team. They weren't the most popular guy at school. So the only way they could get attention is to go negative. Because, that way it could stop the spotlight on the people that have the it factor. So, and I think social media enhance this particular phenomenon. There's people back in my day, like in the late 90s and stuff like that. But I think in the last 20 years, it's exploded because the trolls sometimes get as much attention as the people with the it factor, the top 1%. So, and a lot of people just saying stuff just to get attention. He's absolutely right. So you gotta weed your way through.
going to be 1% of people that sign up for something that actually do it. And the rest are just pussies. And you should call them that when they fail. It's just like you shouldn't be like, you should. There's how many fucking entrepreneurs that like post their before and after photos of them getting in shape, and they're almost like a participation trophy having fat little kid. It's like, bro, you're still a man. Your before and after pics have to be the quality of other men. Just because you have money doesn't mean you're exiled from getting a six-pack, you fucking pussy. And the thing is, they post them, and they're just because they have money, there's bodybuilders in the comments going, "Great job, you fat piece of shit." And it's like, dude, why are you guys applauding this guy? He hasn't done shit. He's just less fat. Like,
good effort.
Good effort. Wouldn't you feel like a pussy?
Yeah, bro,
And people were applauding you and giving you a fucking participation trophy. Well, look, he's trying. He's fucking 36 and worth $40 million, bro. Get a bicep vein popping and some abs, motherfucker. Jesus. Like, why are we gonna?
I agree.
Do you guys realize? Do you guys understand that by us accommodating your shortcomings, we make you weaker? So every
fire. Again, this video really hit. It hit because it's a fact. I thought my mind frame was like, man, I'm so advanced. I'm not even worried about this particular life. I'm so on the higher stuff and so laser focused on my mission, which is to become a socioeconomic neo. I wasn't worried about my appearance and worried about, but how I look as how people see me. Just look at the result. Look at the bank. Look at the bank account. Look at what I did. Look at how I took $1 and made out of 15 cents. However, it all goes. They're absolutely right, and that's the thing about it being a man. You got to admit when you're wrong. They're absolutely right that your body should reflect your bank account. So how can I have $1 million, or $1 billion, or $10 million bank account coming from nothing, and I look like shit? They're absolutely right. So I gotta call it what it is. So that refocus, that put it on my mind. Like, all right, like $1 million bank account, $1 million body. That's what they want to see. It is what it is. Don't complain about it. It's a Canadian field. Go to extra 10
Anybody who has
yards.
a problem with someone like me, I will just smack you so many times that you will forget that you're even able to even speak until you have a result. And when you have one, when you have a result that I give a fuck about, guess what I'll do? I'll tell you, good fucking job. And it'll actually mean something because everybody is giving empty fucking validation to people, and Wes Watson will not. He will say, no, you're a bum fucking broke titty having bitch until you pull up in some real shit and show me a real result. I'm not going to give you no props. And then when I do give someone props, they're like, hell yeah, that's genuine. Everyone's become so disingenuous because they're afraid of getting fucking canceled or whatever the fuck. So they're just fucking kissing ass. And it's bullshit. I don't fucking like it. I won't do it. I'll go in someone's shit and they're like, I'm on this fitness journey. And I'm like, people are watching. You better fucking do it. And everyone else is like, great job, Timmy. And and he's just like, yeah, I'm trying. It's like, you're 37. And he's like, yeah, I did good, right, guys? It's like, no, you didn't. Do you see what the normal people on my program do? They'll go from like being straight fat to fucking like dick skin vein ripped like a motherfucker. I bet you dick skin probably hurts all these little bitches in the chat. But I mean, the whole thing is like 100%.
Dick skin tight. I'm using that, stealing that.
100%. Stop giving people fucking validation or props over something that you don't really believe.
And that's in the book, man. Cloud. That is reminding me, that is in the book. Be obsessed or be average. It's like you give people is this society is validated by mediocrity. Everybody want to just get participation trophies, hey, because I tried to do something that gives you the same amount of just do as accomplishing. False. Either you did it or you didn't. Trying means jack. I don't mean jack, and what we did, we lowered the bar so much that if you just try, then you get kudos. And it's all about either you win or you lost. And that's how it should be. People don't, you don't get credit. The Germans didn't get credit. Oh, they tried to fight, the world, basically, but we lost. They lost World War II. They got, so they dismantled the Nazi party. You don't get credit for trying. Well, we fought a good fight. That's not how this works. So you gotta either do or you don't. It just is what it is.
Have you ever seen this? There's a great movie. It's called Whiplash. Have you ever seen Whiplash?
Never
And
seen
so
I had this old chick who used to call it Whip Flash. I'm like, how stupid are you?
It was this great movie about this one kid who wants to become the best jazz drummer ever, like Buddy Rich. That's what he wants to be. He runs into a teacher. The teacher's name is Mr. Fitch, and Mr. Fitch is just like Wes. He just drives him into the ground, like to the point of abuse, like just like kicking his ass, making his hands bleed, like demanding best out of him. And throughout, like the people who watch this, like the Gen Zers who would watch this movie, they go, "Oh, this is abusive. How could this even possibly happen?" So, like, they were offended
if
by
abuse
the
is
movie.
words,
Yeah.
I live in a wrong state of this
And
world. Abuse is not words.
There's one point in the
that's what women say.
The best line in the movie is like he's talking to, like, Mr. Fitch is talking to this kid, right? He says, "You know what the two worst words in the English language are?" He goes, "What? good job.
To fucking
because he really wanted him to become the best. Because if that's what you want and you're committed to that, then I'm going to kick your ass into the fucking ground until you become the best jazz drummer on the planet.
We only give a fuck what you're doing wrong. You're supposed to do what I'm telling you, motherfucker. I'm not going to applaud you for doing what's right.
I don't think enough people realize how much investment you have to have in yourself to go from ordinary to extraordinary.
A lot.
Yeah.
Fire. How much investment you have to have in yourself to go from ordinary to extraordinary. That sounds like a t-shirt, you know? So, man, I'm gonna write down, I'm gonna go back through this video one more time off air and write down all the bars, you know, because they have nothing but bars on this, but that was a bar right there, man. So people don't understand the commitment that it takes, and it's not gonna just get given to you. A lot of people have that lottery mentality that I scratch off maybe one day, hopefully, you know, let's see. That ain't how it works. You know, like Wes said earlier, it's one day at a time. Find out your purpose, you know, have a perfect day, 24, put together a perfect week, put together a perfect month, put together perfect years, and before you know it, you look back, then you got these results. That's just what this is. I think there's a little bit more. I know we had the hour and a half, and then I'm not gonna play
and
the
it's only like
stuff,
you know
but
people don't get it like once you're like there to get to the next level, even though it's just like 1% difference, it takes a ridiculous amount of work.
Does anyone even realize, and let's make this about me right now, my favorite subject. Does anyone even realize how many times over and over people thought I was at a certain level, and then I just straight butt fucked that level into another level? Like, dude, people can win once. Yeah, you can win once. Like, that's pretty easy. You can win a couple times, but to keep fucking winning over and over and just compiling on top of each other, the only thing that takes is for you to never stop. And people really think it's a hack. These business guys come into coaching and they're like, so, like, what system are you using? I'm like, I talk to everybody. They're like, well, how are you selling so much? I'm like, I've actually impacted every single person that signed up for my program's life. They're like, it's like a foreign topic to them that you've actually done something for them on the front hand before they signed up. They're like, they're worried about making content. One of my clients comes in, he's like, I just got to get better at speaking. I'm like, no, you don't, you fucking idiot. Did I teach you anything? I'm like, you need to get the fuck out of the way. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I showed you a process of removal to tap into a message coming from above that's more powerful than all these lames on the planet combined. You're supposed to guide them. As soon as you tap into this message and you follow it wholeheartedly, which I call conscience congruency, God speaking to you and supplying your path. As soon as you do that, you get the fuck out of the way, everything you do will be perfect. And people are like, they just don't even understand that. They think it's them still. It's not.
Fire. I think I said this earlier, so something similar to it earlier, man. What did he say? Cosmic congruency. I like that term. That's a t-shirt as well, man. You know, find out what you're supposed to be doing. Do it. Get out of your own way. Just do it. Every day, stay to your purpose. The touch on what he said earlier, a lot of people said, don't stop. Don't stop. You know, a lot of people have the goal in mind to stop. All right, I'm gonna get to here and then I'm gonna go and relax. You're never gonna make it. That's the old cliche. Shoot for the stars, then if you aim on a tree that's better, you wind up on a tree that's better than on the ground. That's loser talk. Shoot for the stars and keep going for the stars. If I wind up on a tree, I'm shooting for the star. Wind up on top of the mountain, I'm shooting for the stars. Wind up on top of a skyscraper, whatever. I'm gonna keep going till I hit the stars, and that's when you become great. I think there's a little bit more. We're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna say my final thought. We'll wrap it up. From here, I think there's a little bit more.
Get out of the way and be a vessel for a message that's gonna solve a lot of problems down here. And in all reality, I get so much criticism because I'm
fire. He said, be a vessel for a message that's gonna solve a lot of problems down here. That's purpose, man. A lot of people purpose is to get a girl to I mean, that's cool. If you get the girl to raise a family, that's a noble purpose. But a lot of them just get a girl to satisfy your sexual needs, you know, or to get a car to get a girl, or get a house to get a girl. You know, a lot of us, we don't have a divine purpose. That's why nothing works for you. You know, if you just want to have fun, girls just want to have fun. You know, if you want to just kick it, girls just want to kick it. That's why you just spinning idly. You gotta think about it. If you don't have somewhere to shoot at, a target to shoot, how you know what you're aiming at? So you gotta have purpose, a divine purpose, a noble purpose that's outside of yourself in order to be used properly. Once you're used properly, then you get out of your way and then watch everything take over. Watch everything. And one of the friends' benefits of it is, like I said, friendships on at every angle, abundance, and create whatever you want to create. Your wildest dream, created and manifested into flesh. That's what's promised to you. You know, so. But you got to get out your own way.
I'm the solution to all these pussy problems, all these soft men. The biggest problem is soft men, straight up.
Agreed.
Right.
So
We're
you
gonna
want me to read the chats
and then we're gonna do the video.
I think there's gonna be a wrap on that. I want to play one more thing before I get out of here. And it's not a video; it's a quick meme. On Instagram. Let me pull this up real quick. And then I'm gonna end it off with that. Let me find it here first. Bam. And it ties right along to what this is. Let me go ahead and share the screen one more time, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Bam.
And go out of it without leaving behind distinct and legitimate reasons for having passed through it. So when it's all said and done, it's about leaving a legacy worth leaving. And we all got a choice. And for me, look, I'm not perfect. None of us are. I have my flaws. I'm not the most eloquent and articulate and smartest guy in the world, but I know where my heart lies. And I know what my intentions are. And forever I'm going to strive to be better and to benefit people as much as I can. George Washington Carver said, no one has the right to come into this world and go out of it without leaving behind distinct and legitimate reasons for having passed through it. So when it's all said and done, it's about leaving a legacy worth leaving. And we all got a choice. And for me, look, I'm not perfect.
Fire. So get your legacy on your mind. Get your purpose on your mind. Start taking ownership. You know, that's what the Power of Ownership podcast is about. Not only ownership of properties and material stuff, but take ownership of your work. Take ownership of your commitment to yourself. Take ownership of your purpose for being here. You know, with that, don't forget, God is a verb and personal responsibility is your only savior. With that, join us next week. Peace.